The measles outbreak continues to grow. There are now more than 1,200 cases, 31 states. And now, this is interesting, more pediatricians are actually drawing the line when it comes to vaccinations.
Yeah, this is a change, right? This is something new. They're turning away patients who are unvaccinated. Now, it's not a decision that they're taking lightly, of course, but one that they hope will make a difference in the lives of many.
It's very tough. It took us a long time to make the decision.
Dr. Brad Goldner spent years weighing how best to protect the health and wellness of all his patients. The recent measles outbreaks pushing him to make what some consider to be a controversial move, refusing to allow non-vaccinated kids into his practice.
At first, deciding to vaccinate the first one was a little bit of a difficult decision.
But for this Valley mom, the decision to vaccinate quickly became clear.
I decided it was well worth the tiny risk to make sure they didn't get things like polio and chickenpox and all those different things.
Despite medical evidence that vaccines are safe, Arizona ranks number 4 among states leading the anti-vaccination movement. It's one of 17 states allowing personal belief exemptions from vaccines. As a result, 20th century diseases once considered to be gone are now coming back, with 1,215 cases of measles confirmed across 30 states so far this year.
If you're choosing not to vaccinate because you're worried about the side effects of the vaccines, you have to be prepared to deal with the side effects of the disease.
Phoenix Pediatrics serves a very large special needs population vulnerable to those preventable diseases.
We really need to look what's in the best interest of all our patients.
So as of July 1st,
our patient population is no longer welcome unless they are fully vaccinated.
Dr. Goldner is breaking the news to a family now. We'll check back in with them later.
Gilbert Pediatrics, this is Stephanie. How can I help you?
Meantime, at Gilbert Pediatrics, Dr. Tim Jacks and his team are considering a similar ban on kids who aren't vaccinated.
I've got a perspective that very few people have.
Dr. Jacks is a pediatrician and parent who knows the risks all too well. 2 of his children were exposed to the measles, and it happened at a local medical facility during the 2015 outbreak.
In the case of measles, you're contagious well before you're showing symptoms.
His daughter exposed while undergoing cancer treatment. Her immune system already compromised, and her brother, just 9 months old at the time, was still too young for vaccination.
It's hard for parents to kind of sit and be very powerless to do anything about that.
All they could do was wait.
We keep her quarantined at home for a couple weeks and hope and pray that there wouldn't be measles in our house.
Thankfully, neither child came down with the measles.
Ask me tomorrow, but not today.
Maggie is now in 1st grade, cancer-free, and again, vaccinated.
I always look for chances to bring up the personal story when I'm talking with families that are kind of on the fence.
Prevention is simple. Vaccinate.
He also shared his story with Congress.
Pediatrician offices have to kind of take a stand. And it's one thing to say we want to care for all patients and we don't want to reject anybody, but it's a very realistic thing to also say we've got sick kids and we need to make sure these kids stay healthy.
While Gilbert Pediatrics considers this shift in policy, back at Phoenix Pediatrics, Dr. Goldner emerges from a 30-minute conversation with a long-standing patient, and
I think it's been a big awakening.
The family declining to speak with us, but did decide to vaccinate.
Majority, not all, but majority have decided to, yes, that's time to get my child up to date now.
And when they don't?
Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to that family. And that's the hard part for us.
You know, I think that's a really powerful statement because the pediatrician is your first line of really education. It's your touchstone, right? That office to know, am I making the right decisions regarding my children's health? I mean, we just did a well check. You're not only talking about being up to date on your vaccinations, but your nutrition and your sleep and your activity.
Getting exercise.
And, yeah, and you know, really being kind of a guiding force in the wellness of a child as a whole and giving the parents the reassurance they need that they're on the right track. This is a major issue, and it makes sense that they really express that message.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see if this becomes more of a trend. You know, we talk about schools. Schools, there is no requirement.
Right.
If your child is not vaccinated for religious reasons, you signed a form. So it'll be interesting to see if this filters into anywhere else.
Right.
You know, if districts can take up anything, because we've seen that problem. We know we've had it here in Arizona.
And the anti-vaxxers are still standing firm, saying that this causes autism and asking for results. And that's really what got the whole trend started, right?
Years ago, and again, doctors have come up over and over
Yes.
again, study after study that says, no, that one study was flawed. It is not true. We've heard doctors say it right here on Good Morning Arizona. So
Right.
we'll see if this movement continues.
Yeah, but you know, I admire these pediatricians for being forthright. In that particular story about the compromised immune system of a young child, puts it
yeah.
into perspective. If you're lucky enough to make decisions about your healthy child, remember, not all kids are as lucky.
Exactly.
Right?